Southeast Alaska today is best known to outsiders as a tourist destination, with ports of call for the many cruise ships of the Inside Passage. Each of these floating resort hotels carries a cargo of passengers who've come to get a glimpse of a wild and unspoiled land, the way much of America was a century ago. What many visitors don't realize, however, is that 100 years ago, parts of Southeast Alaska were actually not just wilderness, but a highly advanced industrial complex, especially right here in the capital city, the heart of the Juneau Gold Belt. We've all heard of the great Klondike gold rush in the Yukon, but that's not the only gold history in the North Country. So we're going to turn back the clock to a time when the Juneau-Douglas area was a world leader in gold production and high technology. Hi, I'm Scott Foster. Our rediscovery of Juneau's glory days begins right downtown, here at the Juneau-Douglas City Museum.
What we're trying to do at this museum is start with the early prospectors' days when Joe Juneau and Dick Harris first were brought here to discover gold, and follow through from the early prospectors, the settling of the town, and into the Hard Rock Company gold mining days, which continued until the 1940s. Gold mining was a very critical part of Juneau's history. It's the only reason that white people settled here in 1880 was the discovery of gold. Prior to that, downtown Juneau, where we are right now, was primarily a fish camp with Auk Indians who lived out the road. Because of the gold mining here, Juneau developed into a pretty good-sized town, and actually it was the gold mining that caused the town to get big enough that it could attract the capital to move from Sitka to Juneau in the early 1900s.
With over 2,500 objects in its collection, the Juneau-Douglas City Museum has preserved many unique pieces of Southeast Alaska's gold mining history from the 1880s until the end of the mining era in 1944.
This exhibit interprets the early days of gold mining in Juneau, when gold was just discovered and the independent miners were coming to discover and make their claims here in the Juneau area. Over here we have the supply list that Joe Juneau and Richard Harris used for one of their trips from Sitka over to Juneau when they were being grub-staked to make these discoveries. In addition to that, we have a little trail scale, a little portable scale that was used by the Peterson family. They were independent miners who worked here for quite a few years, probably well into the 20s. They were mining here. And then this one here, everything packs inside this little box. And that was used by the Snow family, who they came up in the 1890s and primarily got intrigued into going over the pass before the gold rush, and then came back to Juneau after and lived here for quite a few generations.